Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Sewing Seams with Deb. Today I'm doing my Q&A and I asked you to put forward some questions. So here we go, let's answer some questions together. Hello, it's Deb here. Thank you so much for all your questions that you put forward in readiness for this Q&A, my very first Q&A. There were quite a number of questions, a lot of them around a little bit more about me, and there was a couple of common themes. So I have mainly answered two main questions with a few little others, and there's a bit of a story as well. So, and just by the way, I'm wearing something different in the answer section because in the next bit, because I filmed some of it the other day when I did episode 18. So I'll leave you with it. So there's a question from Maisie Nicholson. 9059 is her handle. And she said a couple of other things, and then the question was, I have a question about who you have to sew for but usually don't, and then she laughed. Husband, kids, family, etc. Well, I like to sew for others, but I don't often get to it. So I often like to sew for others, particularly around Christmas. So family mainly, and with I've just got the one grandchild, and he lives over east. So a long way away. So often I'll make a few items and parcel them up and send them to him so he can have a surprise in the mail. And of course, over Christmas and for his birthday, he gets some gifts from Grandma. So I'm known as Grandma with him, and that answers another question. How many grandchildren I have, I've already said. I've just got the one. Some people also would like to know how I work. Yes, I do work. I'm not retired. I'm not retirement age. In Australia, that is to qualify for the old age pension at the year I was born, because there's a rolling qualification date, if you like, or age. I have to be 67 to get their age pension to qualify. So I'm still working, and I am a transformational coach or a leadership coach, life coach, any of those terms. And so I have clients, they're usually by Zoom or by Teams, Microsoft Teams. Occasionally I assist with some workshops. So they are usually face-to-face, and that's all leadership, and a lot of it is wellness as well. So that's my main work at the moment. I have been an executive, I've been a lecturer, I've been a myriad of different jobs throughout my life. And look, there was this time I was even a roustabout. Do you know what a roustabout is? A rousey? For those people that have got sheep farms or to do with wool and all that. So the shearers need to take the wool off, usually at least once a year, sometimes more often. And these shearers were shearing rams. And I was being a rousty. I was very green. I knew nothing about being a roustabout. I didn't even know what it was. I was just told, be ready at 6 a.m. They'll pick you up and wear jeans and be prepared to work. So honestly, it was a stinking hot day. Well, all days that I worked for this crew. And I've never worked so physically hard in all my life, but they sent me up to the cocky, to the farmer, because they were working on rams, and they were very wrinkly. You know, the skin goes up and down, and then therefore the wool is very wrinkly. And they said, oh, Rousey, you need to go up to see the cocky and ask him for the wrinkle stretcher. Well, because I was that green, I didn't know. Is there such a thing? And I thought, oh, gee, I better do as I'm told. So up I go to the cocky's house, which is up the track a bit from the shearing shed. And I said, they sent me up to get a wrinkle stretcher. And I was very, serious about it. I thought they were waiting for me. I better hurry up. Anyway, he said, "Oh, love, I think they're making a joke of you. There's no such thing." And then he explained it's because that they like to make a joke of every new rousey when they start. So I go, so embarrassed and such a fool. What a fool I was. I got sucked into that. And anyway, so that's me with the wrinkle stretcher. Wow, rouseabouting. How did I get to that? Oh yeah, work. Yeah, so I've done quite a few different jobs. I was a cleaner a long time. I used to take in ironing. Like, you know, when you got little kids, you got no money. Husband's working 2 jobs, 3 jobs. There were no jobs in that country town that I was living. So, I'll take in ironing. So I used to do ironing men's shirts, you know, people's clothing. I actually like ironing. Call me weird. I like ironing. What's that about? So I loved ironing, and so I used to do the ironing, and of course that's perfect. You can fit that in between when the kids are sleeping or they need to be fed or cooking or go and pick them up from school or go and do reading at the school. You know what it's like as a mum or a dad that's at home. You've got different sort of roles to do, different jobs, a lot to do and a lot of pressure, but it's just very different than the workplace. And when I was at school, I was at high school, worked Saturday mornings. There was no, shops used to be open 9 till 5 then, and Saturday was 9 till 12. And I used to work Saturday morning at Coles from the age of 14. And then also from the age of 14, I did someone's business shirts. I used to iron them. And I also worked at a cafe. So and that was just serving people behind the counter, making coffees and making milkshakes. Milkshakes was such a thing in the country town I was living in. And I used to work there on a Saturday afternoon. And so I had 3 jobs, and I was doing year 10, year 11 and year 12. And, you know, we call that, you know, the tertiary admissions exam, it was called then, or the leaving, not sure what you call it in other countries, but I was age 17 and it was my last year of school, and I was working those 2 jobs at the time then. So I've always worked. So for me to finish work would be too much of that's too weird. So I'm not ready to finish work yet, and I'm very happy to do this coaching. And I feel like I can assist people with a bit of mentoring as well. So sometimes I'll mentor people through their parenting, you know, something I offer to people. So it's transformational coaching, but it's also mentoring. So there you have it. Then my last question that I'll answer today, and it's from someone called Kath C. What are your favourite outfits by occasion? And I think that's meaning what sort of outfits do I like to wear to certain occasions? Well, you've seen some of my outfits. For around the house and when I'm just at home, mainly I'm jeans and t-shirt. If it's a hot day, a dress. And if I'm going to meet someone for coffee or lunch, I like to dress up. And that would be usually a dress. I like to wear a dress. Even if it's winter, I'll put stockings and boots or tights. And I always like to have matchy earrings and necklace if I can, and bangles if I've got them, or rings. When I go out of an evening and get really dressed up, well, recently I went to a high tea. I was dressed up to the nines, and I had a dress that I made myself, and I will try and put an image up here if I can find one. And it was an upcycled frock, and so I was dressed up. So some of that is about don't overdo all the bling, but make it discreet sometimes. So I think I had my pearls on and some pearl drop earrings, and just don't overdo it at times. And then I really like to match my shoes if I can. So shoes are a thing for me as well. So the other part of that question from Kath, and thank you for the questions, everyone. What are some rules of your design? And I think she means, well, I'm assuming, does she mean my style? And I think that could be around if I don't have enough colour on the top that is lighting up my face, I might put something in my hair, and that might be a hat. I might put a flower in my hair, sometimes just a coloured hair clip, just something to sort of balance out the colours. I don't know where I learnt all this stuff. I think I've figured it out over the years. I have listened to some podcasts about this, Know Your Style and a few other podcasts, but my sister and my mum have always been very conscious of dressing for town, let's say that. And when you're in the country, you get dressed to go downtown. You don't just flop downtown in your tracky dacks. You know, you don't just wear your trackies downtown, you get dressed for town. So I think some of it comes from that. And some of it comes from getting dressed on Sunday for church, getting dressed up, and used to go to church when I was a kid. And, you know, you always present well. And then there's that whole thing about getting dressed well for work. So when you're going to work, you need to dress according to what the workplace requires. Sometimes it's like suit and tie. And if that is a suit and tie for a woman, that is skirt and blazer and a very dress shirt. So, you know, there are certain rules around the style according to the occasion and according to the venue where we're going. So, you know, if we're going to a black tie, for a man is very clear, but for a woman, what does that mean? So there is a lot around the style, and I think I'm not sure, as I said, where it comes from for me. I think it's just, some of it is I've learned through mum and paying attention to what looks nice on other people, paying attention to what colour looks nice on me. This isn't really a colour I wear very much. And you'll know, and I've said this before, I wear red a lot. And red looks good on me. It's obviously one of my colours. Black sometimes looks all right. Just depends what I've got around my face. It drags my face down a bit, so I break it up with maybe a coloured necklace, a red necklace, or something that's going to change the look. You see, that actually looks better than it being long because it's closer to my face. Probably the colour doesn't look that good on me. So I think eventually you figure out if you keep testing and noticing. The other thing, what I really notice and take notice of, is when people make a comment to me and say, oh, you look really nice today. What I often hear is, that colour looks nice on you, that style looks nice on you, and I really take notice of those comments. So if someone doesn't make a comment, or I feel a bit down at heel, I don't feel invigorated by what I'm wearing, then I'll know that that style or that shape clothing or that colour might not be much for me. So there's another angle to this too. I used to dye my hair in my 40s and my 50s. So there you go. I'm older than that, clearly. And when I turned 60, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to dye my hair anymore. I'm going a la natural. So this is it. And occasionally I'll say, oh, there's hair. So I might put a headband on or something. But the colour of your hair seems to make a difference to what you're wearing. And also, the other point about letting my hair go to my natural colour, and this is my personal perspective, I don't judge people who still dye their hair. Good on you, if you're happy with that. My thought and my theory behind it is, these wrinkles and this old face is going to look really strange with a young person's hairstyle. So my impression about that is, let it go natural colour. Try and still funk it up and keep a little bit trend. and then it softens your face. So I think that helps. The other thing that I've advanced to, so I've stopped dyeing my hair, but I dye my eyebrows. So for those that don't, you might not need to. If your eyebrows aren't grey, or if your eyebrows haven't disappeared, you might not need to do much, except maybe pluck a couple of strays out, or leave them like that. Some people like their eyebrows natural. I like mine. Mine are naturally a certain shape. So I've been blessed with that. That's in the family as well. Thank you. Very nice. But around about when I stopped dyeing my hair, I noticed my eyebrows were going grey. And so I was using a pencil a lot. So I've decided that I will dye them and get them shaped while I'm at it. Oh no, it's a real thing. It's a trend as well at the moment. Eyebrows and eyelashes are in, I know. But eyelashes were very in the 70s too, I've got to tell you. And eyebrows, we used to pluck them till they were a skinny line. They were a thin line in the 70s and the 80s. And Saturday afternoon would be, that's the day we sit with a mirror and pluck our eyebrows and make them all lovely. And we paint our nails and we put a mask on our face and we might wash our hair, put hair rollers in them or heated curlers. Anyone had those? So that was Saturday afternoon. And that's it for today. And thank you so much for joining me. It's been a lot of fun. And a little bit of a walk down memory lane and a little bit more sharing and just a little bit about me. So it's been fantastic spending time with you, and I shall see you again next time. You take good care. Happy sewing. Stay well. Bye.